Hey there, this is Real Talk Baseball. I'm Carlos Baseball. With me is Ernie Orange. We have a good show for you guys today. It's MLB Week 11 recap, and we'll go over some stuff about the Cardinals, the rivalry, the Red Sox, Yankees. We'll go over Armando Galarraga. If you guys remember who he is, we'll go over it. And if you don't remember, I think it's a good story for you guys to go and listen to us. The All-Star Ballets, Lisa Arraez, and we'll go over the Hall of Famer, Tony Gwynn. But before we get to that, let's go ahead and say what's up to Ernie Orange. What's up, dude? How's it going?
Hey, Carlos, how's it going, man? Not much. Just right here, enjoying a nice Monday night. Ready to do this podcast with you guys and talk baseball.
Dude, man. Hey, we have a few people on here, and if you haven't subscribed, you haven't liked our video, please go ahead and do that. I'll try to make it a theme and see if we can get more people to like the video. And if you don't
That's
like the
right.
content, go ahead and put it on our message board or send us an email or send us. I mean, let me go ahead and put that on here because a lot of people don't see that we do have other platforms. We do have TikTok. We do have Twitter, which is kind of hard to grow, right, Ernie? I know you're working on it, but it's a different breed. I think it's a different breed, dude. It's
It's
really
a
tough
different
to work
breed,
on that one.
definitely. You could get a million views, but you'll get like 10 likes, and it's a hard crowd out there
Yeah,
on Twitter.
yeah, yeah. So
But we are
I
happy. We are celebrating our 400 subscriber today, and it's a
yeah,
huge accomplishment for us. So we just want to say thank you for all you guys that continue to watching this show and continue to promote us to your friends and people that love baseball. So
yeah,
thanks for that.
yeah. And let's give us a big old round of applause, man. 400 is not easy to get. A lot of people think 400 is just 400 is just whatever. No, 400 subscribers is something difficult to do and to get. And I mean, yeah, it's a good accomplishment. Well, let's continue, man. Let's start with the rivalry between the Yankees and the Red Sox, and we've talked about this before, right, Ernie? Where we said the Dodgers Padres, is that a new rivalry? But Dodger fans are still, and I'm one of them, are still saying that the Dodgers Giants are still the rivalry. But let's talk about the Red Sox and the Yankees. Is it still a rivalry? Do you feel like it's still a rivalry, or do you feel like other teams have a better lineup and a better team to match up with the Yankees?
No, definitely. I still think it's a rivalry, Carlos. The rivalry will never end.
Yeah,
It's one of those things that the Red Sox and Yankees have so much hate towards one another. It's kind of an East Coast type of thing.
yeah,
Boston, New York, the two major cities in the East. It's one of those things where it's never going to end. But it's lately has been feeling kind of quiet. It's just no buzz around the Yankees and Red Sox like we once saw. I'm not sure if it's because we haven't seen as much playoff matches like we did in the early thousands, but it's very quiet. The Red Sox have also a lot of Dodger ex players, so I'm not sure they know how it feels to be in that type of rivalry. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah,
So what,
yeah,
what do you think? I know the Rays and the Blue Jays are emerging as like top rivalries for the Yankees these days. Every time they face each other, it just seems like they're talking smack and they're ready to get the brawl going. But who knows
yeah.
what's gonna happen, man? But this Red Sox Yankee rivalry is definitely dying down. It's a lot of young core players coming into both teams, so I'm not sure they have too much respect for one another, I think.
Yeah.
And surprisingly, I think Alex Cora and Aaron Boone are the only OGs in there. I think they're the ones that are still know what that rivalry really is. So it kind of shocks me that they haven't taught these players yet about this rivalry.
Dude, Nestor came out and said that the Yankees Boston Red Sox is not a big deal because they haven't been, I don't know. It's kind of like it's not a back and forward type thing. And maybe because the Red Sox are not in a good position to make the playoffs as of yet, right? Because there's still a lot of baseball to play. But I still feel there's a rivalry there. You think yesterday's game didn't mean anything? It meant a lot. The Red Sox really wanted to pull that off, especially out in New York, dude. They didn't want to lose out there. Like, who wants to lose to the Yankees? No one does. Everybody brings their A game. Kind of like what I say about the Dodgers. Like everybody gets off the IL and hits to play against the Dodgers, and that's what I feel about the Yankees. That when the Yankees go out to wherever they go, they fill the stadiums up, and the same for the Red Sox. But I feel like the Yankees are more. They're the number one team in the MLB, of course, and we need to give them that credit, dude. Like it's one of those things that like I feel that it's going to continue. But you're right. The rivalry is a little bit, not too much like it used to be. I think it's going to be something where the Rays or the Blue Jays are going to be that rivalry that we're waiting to see because we do want to see fights and stuff like that because we are human. It's kind of one of those things where you're just like I don't know, man. I don't know if I'm the only one. What's up, Will? How's it going, man? Um, dude. Ask us a question. Hopefully, we can answer it for you. Will has a Friday shows. He won't be on this Friday because he has a lot of stuff to do. But we'll try to see if we can get on this Friday and see if we can get a couple of people to do the fantasy show on Friday. But yeah, dude, I just going back to what I was saying. I think if we do go ahead and appreciate these new little rivalries, I think it'll be good for baseball and it's fun for baseball because we did talk about the Yankees being the bullies, right? And
Mhm.
when someone's a bully, you want to beat that bully up, of course. So,
Right. That's
right?
correct. And Alex Cora made a good comment over Saturday's game. Willie Cahoon had actually hit a home run, and he made a comment towards the end of the game saying, like, this home run would only happen in Yankee Stadium. This home run would not happen in any other stadium. Basically talking crap of Yankee Stadium.
Yeah,
And it was kind of funny because I feel like he was trying to stir up the pot. And then the
yeah.
following day, Justin Turner hit a home run exactly around the same area, which also would have not had counted towards any other stadium. So the stadium sucks at the way it's dimensioned, but it does benefit you sometimes, and sometimes it does hurt you. So it was an interesting take by Alex Cora this weekend.
Yeah, I mean it is what it is. So I mean, we'll see what happens down the line. They're trying to stir it up. I'm pretty sure people out there in the media they tell these players, "Can you say this? Can you say that?" Kind of stir it up so we can get more people to see the game or whatever. So I mean, it is what it is. So let's move on, man. Let's go on to the
For
next
sure.
topic. I know a lot of people like talking about the Yankees, but we can only do so much, right?
Yeah.
So, all right, let's continue, man. I think we have a message here. Oh, okay. Xavi and I, bro, are getting on Friday. Maybe you guys could do a collab show for sure, man. Let's do that. We'll decide. We'll talk in text. We'll see if we can do that for you guys on Friday. We didn't do the what is it, May show that we're supposed to all together. Now let's just do this one and try to uh, let everything out. But let's
For sure.
continue on right here. Let's continue on right here. Where am I at? I'm getting kind of lost with all these platforms and all these things that are on the side. Where's it at? Where the Cardinals? The Cardinals. We're moving on to the Cardinals. There we go. All right. So the Cardinals, they're not doing so good, right? And we've been talking about Goldschmidt and Arenado, and a lot of people's been saying that are they going to get traded? Are they going to be one of the players that the Cardinals get rid of? As of now, I've been hearing that the Cardinals are set and good with their team. They're not going to move any pieces around. They're good with it. They're okay. And if you think about Goldschmidt and Arenado, the Cardinals kind of like didn't give a lot for Arenado. So why would they get rid of someone that they didn't get a lot for? And they're not paying a lot of his contract. Remember, Colorado did those contracts with Arenado. And then, I mean, the Rockies did that contract with Arenado, and then you have Goldschmidt, which he came, from the Diamondbacks, and his last year is on the 24th, which is the 2024. That's when he's a free agent, and then you're looking at Arenado. His contract's not due till probably 2028, dude. That's a long time, isn't
It
it?
is. It really is, Carlos. At this point, the Cardinals are 8 games back of 500. I'm sorry, 8 games behind first place. They
Yeah,
are, if not a mistaken, 12 games, under 500. It's not the season the Cardinals were looking for, Carlos, but they're not known to be sellers. Cardinals are always known to be in the mix, always fighting. The Central is still open to anybody with over 100, almost 90 games left in the season. I just don't see it happening, Carlos. This is one of the brightest stars that came from the NL West. These two players, this is the best duo in baseball if you think about it. From the
yeah,
both corners, first base and third base, they're the best, duo if you could think in baseball in that perspective. With these contracts not expiring anytime soon, I do not see them making any type of trades for these guys.
no,
Now, looking back late in July, if they're still in this type of scenario where they're still down, I could see them trading at least some of their expiring contracts. They do have players like Jordan Montgomery, Jack Flaherty, Jordan Hicks, which they could still get a lot of value from. These pitchers, they're not going to get nothing from them at the end of the season if they can't sign them. So might
yeah,
as well just try to trade and get some pieces from them and get younger. The
yeah,
pitching hasn't been the greatest, and like as Will Power said, Flaherty was supposed to be their ace, hasn't planned out the way they were expecting. If it's not working out, man, it's time to move on. Get some younger prospects for him, and it's at the end of the day, postseason's coming around, and people need pitching, and it's tough to come by. So you know how
yeah.
it is, man. Playoffs come, you need that pure starter.
Yeah. We have Tony Snap. What's it going, Tony? Who will the Dodgers go after the most? To be honest, I feel like the bullpen needs a lot of help. I know a lot of people are saying the starters and all this. Like, I don't see them getting a starter. They got Bobby Miller. They have Julio Diaz coming back from the IL. So I think their starting rotation is okay, and they'll be okay going into that long stretch in August and September. The one that I do see is I feel like they need bullpen, and Liam Hendricks will be a great fit for the Dodgers to be the closer because the Dodgers don't have a closer right now. There's not an identified closer there yet. So I believe that's I guess they need to go after that Liam Hendricks, or I mean, I could be wrong. There should be another closer out there that can they can go after. If they're not in
Yeah,
player, I mean in playoff contention, right?
you're totally right, Carlos. The bullpen has been a big hiccup for the Dodgers. Dave Roberts just can't seem to find the guy that could close out the game for them sometimes. This weekend alone, they gave up 3 walk-offs to the Reds and the Phillies. It hurt them really bad. Now, this weekend, Liam Hendricks actually just went down to the IL for 15 days, IL for an elbow injury, which kind of sucks for the guy. He had a really sad story. He finally made it back to the majors after this
Yeah,
cancer treatment. So it's kind
yeah.
of unfortunate situation for him, but there's definitely going to be a closer out there. Hey, man, I'm calling the Royals and I'm calling for Chapman real quick, if you ask me.
Oh, that's
Bring
true.
the
I forgot
Cuban
about
missile to
Chapman.
LA. You know,
Dude, I forgot about him, dude. And you're right.
he's
I
out there
think
in Kansas City, and
yeah.
it's time to make the call, if you ask me.
But I think Kansas City's gonna ask for a lot because they're in the rebuilding mode.
I don't blame
They're
him.
trying to yeah, no, and that's okay. They shouldn't. But they're in rebuilding mode, and I think they're gonna ask for a lot of players. They're gonna ask for a player that's been playing in the major leagues and they're in exchange for Chapman. But we will see, dude. And we never know, right? Tony says that Diaz from the Reds would be better and younger. I mean, I agree. The Reds are, dude. I don't know if the Reds are gonna be a seller because Dela Cruz has been bringing a lot of electricity to that city and to the team as well. Like they've been winning good games lately. So
Yeah,
um, and we're not even in July yet, but once we hit July, and this keeps happening to where these players just came up and they explode these freaking teams, you're not going to see these teams being sellers. So
no,
it's going to be hard, right? To see, I think, I want to say this year's going to be a tough year for a trade because a lot of contracts are in the way. A lot of teams are undecided what they want to do, and for the Dodgers, it's gonna suck, right? It's gonna suck because they do need that bullpen piece. They do need to have that closer. But if they can't get that closer, go after someone that's not a closer. A setup man could be your closer. But remember, Trinan is down there too. Trinan is trying to come back. He should be back. It says like in a month or so, but who knows? He's been getting delayed and delayed. So we'll see, Tony. For the Dodgers, dude. Let's see what else do we have. We have Shelby Miller has been looking good. Yeah, he has. He has been really good, but he take on the closer role? I mean, only time will tell because they've been experimenting lately. They have Bruce Delgado. They have who's
Philip
Phillips.
and
It's just they've been
Philip Ferguson.
yeah
It's a
they've been
mix and match game. It feels
yeah
like that's what Dave Roberts is doing, and Shelby Miller's doing so great, but he's only usually in the games when their Dodgers are behind. And
yeah
what if he gets in the mix when the 7th, 8th, 9th inning when they're in the lead? That's what I want to see if Shelby Miller does have his stuff right there.
yeah
But
yeah
sure,
yeah.
man.
Let's see. Willpower. Red lineup is awesome, dude. It's kind of exciting to see them play. I'm ready to see De La Cruz when he get Ellie De La Cruz gets on base and he runs out a bunt or he runs out a easy ground ball to first base and they still call him safe, which is
He just did
it's
one of those right
amazing.
now, actually.
Yeah,
Before
right.
we jumped on, before we hopped on, man, this guy's one of the fastest guys out there. He claims he's the fastest, and I just saw it today, and he's
Yeah,
not lying.
yeah,
The
yeah.
guy is
Well, look.
fast.
All right. So we did start with the Cardinals, right? We are saying that the Cardinals might. Who knows? If someone comes with the right trade for the Cardinals, don't get me wrong, they would probably think about it and they would be like, you know what, Goldie's getting older. He is at his age 33, 34 season. Um, his contract is up and after the season in 2024. So I would see him go before Arenado because Arenado his contract is up in 2027, dude. So he still has a long time with that contract. And I don't think anybody wants to pay that if his numbers are not what they were in Colorado. Like we talked about the Colorado effect and all that stuff, right? But he's been proven to be hitting 270,
Right.
280, so he's been hitting 20 home runs, which is expected from him from third baseman. So we will see, man. We will see. They're in last place right now. If it
But
continues, we'll
you're
see
right.
in
But they
July,
still have
right?
time to. Yeah, we still have time, and they still got time to get back into contention. So for right now, I can't see them breaking up this duel. Their sparring contracts is the only ones I could see them trading. But like you're right, if you could get a good offer for these guys, why not go younger? But they do have a bunch of young core players like Nolan Garman, Newbar, bunch of guys out there that could still play, man. So I don't
Yeah,
see why the Cardinals can't compete come July and August and make a deep run into the playoffs. That wild
yeah,
card spot is with the new playoff format, Carlos. It feels like any team could just get hot at the right moment and could get in the last minute.
yeah, yeah,
That 3 wild card spots, man, it helps a lot.
yeah. It helps a lot of
Come
teams to get into
September
the
time,
playoffs.
you
Yeah,
can still make a
yeah,
deep run. I think the Cardinals are just being affected by all these rule changes, honestly. I think they're a
yeah,
little older type of experienced players, and they're not used to being adjusted with this time clock. The shift has also hurt the pitching. So we'll see how it
yeah.
all plays out. They're all going to get used to it, and we'll see how the outcome comes at the end.
Yeah, dude, I didn't even ask you why are you wearing the Ace hat, dude?
Oh man, it's the hottest team in baseball, Carlos. What you know? They won 5 in a row, and they just swept the Brewers this weekend. Sorry Milwaukee,
Yeah,
they had to go down, but tomorrow they're also gonna have the reverse boycott. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar, but the A's fans are coming out to Oakland Coliseum. They're gonna sell out the stadium. They're gonna show the owner Fisher that hey, it's not us, it's you. So it's
yeah.
kind of a good sign to see that Oakland fans are still saying like, hey, we want to stay in Oakland. It just sucks that we have a terrible owner and we're in this situation. But what are your thoughts on that? The reverse boycott. It's pretty cool, right?
That's pretty cool, dude. We were saying at the beginning of the season that maybe the A's should stop going to the game, but I think that's what they want. They want to show the world that the A's don't have a good following, don't have a fan base out there, that they don't want to support their team. But it's hard to support your team when you don't put money on the team, right? So
Right.
the reverse boycott, which is something really cool, I think that you just mentioned. I think it should be a great example and show these owners like, hey, look, we love baseball here in Oakland. We want you to build a stadium here in Oakland, make it happen. We don't want to lose the team to Las Vegas, right? They already lost the football team. Now they're going to lose a baseball team, and it's a historic baseball team. It's not just a regular team where it's just like the Miami Marlins. They don't have a lot of time. They don't have a lot of history, but you know what I'm saying is it sucks for the city of Oakland. It'll suck if they leave, but they have no other choice. That stadium is falling apart, man. It's
It
really
really,
falling apart.
it really
Yeah.
is. And I
Would
mean,
you go?
like,
Would you go to that stadium?
I'm actually thinking about going. Why not? Let's check it out. We got 3 more years to go, right? 2 or 3 seasons left.
I
Why
think
not?
two, yeah,
Yeah,
three or two seasons. You're right.
that's exciting, man. So
Yeah,
that's why I'm
yeah.
wearing the Ace hat, and they're facing the Rays this week. This week. So let's see how they do this series with them.
You said they have a 5-game winning streak?
Yeah, they beat the Pirates 2 games, and then they swept the Brewers over the weekend. I
What?
know people don't follow the Ace. I know they're 17-50. It's not. It's still a terrible record, man. But hey, man, give them their props, man. They won 5 in a
Yeah,
row.
yeah. Why not, dude? What? I mean, if they are gonna go to Vegas, I do want to go to see the A's in the Coliseum at least one time, so I can say, hey, I was there. Like
Right.
I went to Qualcomm. I got to see the Padres play at Qualcomm, which is something that a lot of people like. What's Qualcomm? Well, that was the stadium before they got their Petco. So.
Yeah.
If there's stadiums out there that you want to visit before they drop them down, like you should do it, like and don't hesitate, because that's part of history for baseball. Like we'll go history part. I think we should talk about the All Stars, man. Like the All Star ballot. Have you guys voted? Have you guys seen the new way of voting, which is something cool because now they have the batting averages there. They have all these stats on the side, which helps the voter to vote correctly. I think before it was more of I want to say like a popularity, vote, right? I think it was if the player was popular, they would just vote for him, even though he was batting 200, and that kind of sucked. So, do you like the new format?
I definitely like the format, Carlos, and it only allows the fans to vote 5 times a day as well. I'm not sure
Yeah,
about if it was 2015, which all Royals players were like voted into the All Star, and there were every position had a Royals player there. Man,
yeah,
that was a terrible All Star, and definitely that has changed the voting way. We're a month away from the All-Star game, which is going to be in Seattle. It's going to be an exciting one. Me and Carlos made our picks over the week, and we were like, hey, let's see how we compare from our picks. And just today they announced the leading voter getter. So we kind of wanted to compare with each other. Me and Carlos kind of went very similar in the American League, but he went Austin Hayes, and I went Randy Arozarena. I kind of went Randy Arozarena, man, because I think he makes a huge impact for the Rays. Every time he's in a bat and there's runners in base, man, the guy just makes something happen, something electrical, magical happen, and the Rays always score when he's in there, man. The catcher, we went a little different. I went Salvador Perez. You went Adley Rutschman. Don't get me wrong. It was kind of a hard one there. Mm-hmm. I went Salvador Perez, man, because of experience, man. He is just that type of hitter that constantly, he's a core member of the Royals, man, and he's one of the best hitting catchers we have in the game right now. And this would be the All-Star game. And, man, every time I see him play, I'm like, how's this guy still so good? Like, one of those players that we forget because he's in the Kansas City, but, man, he's a future Hall of Famer, and it's impressive to see what he's still doing.
Yeah. It's nothing wrong with that. I think Salvador Perez is good, and Adley Rutschman is not a bad pick either. I think they're both up there when it comes to they're the top catchers, I feel, in the American League right now. We went different on the DH spot, and I'll tell you why I went different. It's Shohei Ohtani. You picked Shohei Ohtani, and I went Miguel Cabrera. And the reason why I went Miguel Cabrera is because he's retiring after this season. A lot of people forget that he's still playing for the Detroit Tigers. Remember, he started with the Marlins. He won that World Series with them back in 97. Was it 97 or was it 2003? It was one of those two. I think it's 2003. It was his rookie year. And, he's going to be, a lot of people are giving him stuff at the other stadiums. Albert Pujols got to go to the All-Star, and he wasn't doing all that great. Let's give him that ticket. Not as a starter, but, maybe have a chance to go and enjoy those festivities for the last time, right? He's a great player. He's a good character on the field, and I feel like that he belongs there. But I agree with you on the DH spot. As a starter, I feel that Shohei Ohtani should be that DH spot. Not Miguel Cabrera, but that's just my vote that I would want him to go because of what I just said. And, let's go on to the National League, dude. Let me go ahead and move the banner, dude, because I think it's blocking the bottom. There we go. Blocking the bottom. But, yeah, go ahead, dude.
Also, National League, we had little differences. I went second base, Luis Arraez. I think he's having a phenomenal season with his close to 400 batting average. Ketel Marte is also doing a heck of a job, Carlos. The way he's leading Diamondbacks, getting it on base. We also had a difference here in Max Muncy and Nolan Arenado. And the more I look at your pick, man, I think I like Nolan Arenado even better, man. Max Muncy he's hitting a lot of home runs, but the guy, man, can't just seem to get in base. He's batting under 200. I think he's exactly 191 batting average. It just doesn't cut it for me right now for the, all-star selection, especially as a starter. For me, I try to look for players that make an impact to the game, make a difference in their team, not just by stats, And the home runs are cool and all, but if you can't get on base, I don't know, man. And then
I think I'm gonna say something about Muncy. Like yesterday, he hit a lot of line drives and a lot of hard hit balls, and it's just the infield kept picking him, dude. I felt bad for the guy. I think his third at bat, he was running the first, and he even raised his hands. He was like, "What the heck? I can't do anything. Like everybody's picking my ground balls." So that's baseball, dude. That's what happens. You hit the hardest ball and it gets caught, and you hit the little dribbler, you get a base hit. It doesn't matter how far you go or how not far, but how close you hit it to home plate. If it's a hit, it's a hit. It goes on the stat that way. It doesn't go as far as you hit it, right? So it sucks for Muncy, but yeah, man. I didn't mean to cut you off. It's just I wanted to say that about Muncy. He looks like he's a little frustrated because a lot of people are making plays on him. But yeah, go ahead, dude.
Things are just not going his way, bro. But Willie Adames, I went shortstop, and Orlando Arcia, man. But Arcia's also having a great season. It's hand in hand. And I wouldn't be shocked if Orlando Arcia makes it. The Braves are just playing at another level right now. And this guy's over 300 batting average. So I don't see I see you're right on that one. I don't see why not. And another difference here on our fielder, we have Corbin Carroll and Nick Castellanos, which both players are doing a heck of a job. Yeah. Man, Corbin Carroll, for me, he's already rookie of the year, Carlos. Why not? This guy.
Damn. Already? You're already calling it.
I'm already calling it, man. I was James Outman for the first month, but man, after the 2 months now, Corbin Carroll's just it, man. They finally figured out James Outman, and Corbin Carroll's batting over 300. and he's leading the Diamondbacks to first place in the NL West. So why not, man? Give this kid his time, his shine, you know?
Dude, I don't disagree with you. I'm just saying, like, you're calling it now, which is because the kid has potential to be the rookie of the year, and he's really good. It's not one of those things where you see a player and you're like, oh, he got lucky. Not every day you see him on the ESPN highlights, the MLB Network highlights, and he's just doing good for the Arizona Diamondbacks. They're in first place, you know. So
Yes.
most of these players, they have their teams up there, you know, for the exception of few, like they're just playing really good. Tony just said, don't forget Manfred could add an all-star as an honor, and you're right, he could add Miggy for that position. And it's not hopefully Manfred doesn't do that where he forgets and say, I'm not going to add him to the all-star roster, but he's human. I'm pretty sure he is going to realize that he belongs in that all-star game so we can see him one last time. And you know, they can probably like say, hey, let's give him something for that day, and maybe he can be part of the home run derby. I don't think he can, but he's already older, so I mean, it is what it is. But I just want to say that for the catchers, dude, you got Sean Murphy and I got Will Smith. I think Sean Murphy is batting 280 or 279 or 280, I think. Will Smith, I think, just came down to 298 because he didn't have a great game yesterday.
Okay.
Um, I feel like those two are the top catchers in the National Leagues. You can't go wrong with that. But I feel like because Will Smith, it's kind of, I don't know. I feel like because a lot of people run on him, maybe that's why they're not picking him. Um, and like I said, he should be in the roster. He could potentially be a DH as well. He doesn't
Yeah.
need to catch, so you give another chance to another catcher on that. But um, the format for me works a lot better now because it used to be a popularity contest, and now it's not. Now it has everything, like I said when we first started this segment, which is really good, and I like that. I like that a lot. So let me go ahead and show the other banner that we went ahead and put on. This is what these are the first place, right? This is what the starting lineup as of now, as of today. That's what it is.
Yes. As of today, these are the lead voting getting the lead votes right now currently happening right now.
Okay.
So we still
Yeah.
have time to vote, but as of right now, the one that shocks me is Mike Trout. He's not having his typical Trout season. He's kind of struggling, if you ask me. This is the
Yeah.
worst slump he has ever been since his rookie season. But you know, he is still Mike Trout. Who doesn't want to see him in the All-Star game
Yeah.
next to Aaron Judge and Jordan Alvarez? But those guys are also concerning. They are currently in the IL. Will they be able to play? So it's a lot of concerning there. And for the
Hmm.
National League, the surprising one is Lourdes Gurriel for me. He's also having a great year, but that's where I would put Corbin Carroll over him because he still has better stats than Gurriel. So it's kind of shocking.
Yeah.
And as you can
Yeah.
see, JD Martinez, just Stingers, just made the cut. So people are, voting for this guy. They're surprised. I think everybody in the MLB is shocked the way he's playing, bro. And he's having a heck of a season. He's changed his game around. Back in April, I wasn't sure he was going to be with the team the whole season, but he's made a huge difference for the Dodgers.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, it's crazy. I'm gonna go ahead and say it. I feel like Luis Arraez. He's one of those players that a lot of people he's on the ballot right now and he's
Yeah.
leading, you know, but a lot of people don't know that this man is batting 400. I think he's batting 398 right now, but he was batting 400 for a long time. And this is a question I'm gonna ask you. Do you think he's gonna finish the season at 400?
Oh, I knew you were going to ask me this, Carlos. It's one of those. We haven't seen a 400 batting average since Ted Williams back in 1941. It's one
Yeah.
of those records. Do you think it's ever going to happen? And Luis Arraez that's close, 60 games into the season, Carlos. The guy
Yeah.
has been impressive, phenomenal. This guy, they call him the sprinkler. He hits the ball everywhere in the field. He doesn't really
Yeah.
know for power, but this guy could make one of the best contact hitters we have in the game right now. And
I
I can't
agree.
believe the Twins traded this guy away. I'm really shocked. The Twins could use him big time right now. And,
Yeah.
he's making such a huge difference for the Marlins, Carlos. And they have a chance of making a deep playoff run with this wild card. I don't think they're going to win the division, but they'll get the wild card. But
Yeah.
is he going to get 400, Carlos? I really hope so. It would be great for the game.
Yeah.
If he gets 400, man, this would be an accomplishment that we'll talk for the ages, right? But
Yeah.
I see him finishing the 390, 387, and I think that would already be considered one of the best in our generation, in the 21st century, if
Yeah.
you ask me.
Yeah, yeah,
So
dude. It's crazy that, like, Will, thanks for saying this. And I was gonna say it. Arraez is underrated. It's really too underrated. Like, I feel like this man doesn't get the recognition that he should be getting because he is. I mean, he's playing for a team that's not like a big time
big
followed
market.
team. So like, I feel like this All Star game, people are gonna get to see who he is. Like, this guy's batting 398, 400. Like, really? You start talking about this man and you're like seeing like this guy's not even that tall, he's not even that big, but he's making a lot of noise, and like you said, he's spraying the ball around the field. It's not just pulling the ball or bunting, like he's doing everything he can to get on base, which is really good for him. So do I feel like he's gonna be a 400 hitter at the end of the season? I hope so. I hope so, because I want to talk about it as much as I can, because then I can bring up stats on older players that did they ever hit 300? Did they ever get that far? So let's see, Chewy. What's up, Chewy? He says he doesn't
Uh,
see it. Which is, I mean, everybody has a different, I guess, perspective on these things. He is playing in the AL East. I mean, the NL East. He plays with the Braves, against the Braves, and against the Mets. But the Mets are having trouble right now.
they
They
are.
just got swept by the Braves, dude, and all of them were comebacks. They weren't easy wins.
Oh no,
Like like I think what was it, Pete Alonso got injured.
he
Uh,
did. Yep. Blow it again. It was a very devastating week for the Mets.
yeah,
They had some tough losses and poor guys, but Luis Arraez, man, like we were mentioning, this guy is an AL batting title champion from last year. People forget he batted 316 with the Twins. This is it's 3 seasons already, Cardinals, that he's hit over 300. And like I said, nobody ever talks about this guy. Is
no,
he just because he doesn't hit for power? I feel like the media just looks for players that hit for power and who shows the home runs and these crazy defensive plays. But we never
yeah,
talk about the great contact hitters in the game, which
which
it's
is
also impressive to do.
Yeah, and you know what? It's funny you just said that, because we have the person we're going to talk about, the did you know, is Tony Gwynn, but we'll talk about him a little later, because he didn't get the recognition as well. But yeah, dude, it's kind of funny that works that way. That's just the way the media works. You think Freddie's going to win the batting title? He's on it. I
He's
definitely
always in the
see
mix.
Freddie. Yeah, he's always in the mix. He always says, even when he was with the Braves, it was one of those things where it was just like, man, this guy is a beast. They're like, why are the Braves? Well, we already know. We already talked about it so many times about why he left the Braves. It's not that he left. It's just he cried about it a long time. But yeah,
Yeah,
whatever, man. And yeah, they did sweep the Mets. The Braves did, and they're having a good time. Oh, there you go. Will, thanks for that, man. All right, OBP 447, dude. And man, how can you compete with that? How can this man be stopped? And like, if he wasn't on that team with the Marlins, do you think that the team will be doing good? I don't think so.
I don't
I
think so
don't think
either.
so. I think this guy is electrifying that team right now. They have a lot of starters though. They have good pitching. And if you look at the World Series titles that they had nothing but stellar freaking starting pitching and having a bat, because Miguel Cabrera was one of those hitters that hit for singles, doubles, and then he just found his power. And
Hmm.
he wasn't the main reason why they won the World Series, but they were one of the reasons why they went to the playoffs and they won the World Series. They
Yeah,
through the season they did that. So maybe this man does it for the Marlins, and they would do a lot better for them. So
for
we
sure.
will see. Rice gets on base. Yeah, he does half or more. I think almost half, right?
Almost
Yeah,
half. But hey,
that's
man,
that's
that's impressive in the MLB, man.
yeah.
For fantasy purposes, this guy must be a top pick in second base next year. Just saying that, Will.
Yeah. He was crying about it. He was, Tony. Come on, you remember that? He was making that face like, like he cried about it. But we'll see. He was,
Man,
dude.
I think
Let's
he
go.
got over it. He got over it.
Yeah, he better get. I think he did, dude. All right, so we are talking about Miguel Cabrera and the Tigers. I don't know if you guys remember, back in 2010, something happened where it was a. Well, let me just show you the video, and we'll go over it. So remember this play? Jim Joyce as an umpire, and he called him safe. And I mean, the replay shows that he was straight up out. And
So,
everybody, even the hitter, dude. Did you guys just see the hitter put his hands on his helmet? Like, really? You called me safe? Look at that. That's crazy,
oh,
right?
I,
So, yeah, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
oh man, this was a terrible call by Jim Joyce, Carlos.
Yeah,
Man, he was
yeah.
clearly
But
out. Look at
right
that,
there.
by more than an
Yeah,
inch.
yeah. So, okay, so the reason why I brought it up is because in 2020, um, he did say that he wanted to have the no hitter or the perfect game reinstated to where it was correct. Um, I don't know if that should happen. I don't know if that should be one of the things where it should get reinstated to be a thing where it is a perfect game, because there's been 23 perfect games in the history of baseball. He would have been the 24th, and he's not. That's not the last time that it would have happened. I think believe that 2012 was the last time they got it, which was Felix Hernandez. If you guys remember, he threw the last perfect game, and dude, it just sucks that this happened. That Jim Joyce made the wrong call. I feel for him too, because umpires are human. Umpires, they can get a call wrong, and this one was devastating to not just him, but to like, come on, dude. Think about it. He
But
blew the call. He blew the call.
he really did, Carlos. And it just shocks me that the MLB commissioner Bud Selig didn't change the score like right after the game. At that moment, I feel like Bud Selig, the commissioner, could have been like, you know what, that was a perfect game. It was a 28 batter perfect game. Who cares? Change it.
Yeah,
Like we're talking about it like almost a decade later, and we're trying to see if we could change the if it was a perfect game or not. I don't know,
yeah,
man. It should have been in the record book, Carlos. This should have been the 28th perfect game in baseball history. And they should
yeah,
get it right. It's unfair that a bad call determines the outcome of this huge accomplishment in baseball,
yeah,
especially now that the MLB challenges have been introduced. Now there's all these MLB replays for this type of things now, and if this was to happen now, we would have changed it. So why not
yeah.
change that play?
Look, the problem I have with changing the rule or changing it to a perfect game is that it's too old in the years. I guess, what is it, 13 years now
Yeah,
that it passed, and you didn't go ahead and fix it like you just said. But I think I don't think they should change it anymore. It's too late, because if you would have celebrated that, no, that perfect game, because remember, he lost the no hitter as well. He lost it, and then he lost the perfect game, and that's why they're all upset and whatever. If you would have seen after the game, everybody went after Jim Joyce, and he didn't just walk out of the game. He stood there. He took it. He took it like a man. He even accepted that he messed up. The next day he went out to the plate. That's why I put the picture on here. Let me put it up again. But he went out to the plate and he gave him the what is it, the batting order, and he was crying. Jim Joyce was crying. He was like genuinely crying because he felt that he messed up. He didn't give this kid at the time a perfect game, and in a perfect game, it's not easy to come by. Like, it's not one of those things where you're like, oh, I'm gonna go out today and throw a perfect game. No, this is one of
oh,
those things that you don't get to see. Like, in the hundred and whatever years that baseball has been in existence, there's only been 23 pitchers that has done it. And if you have witnessed one of those no hitters or perfect games, you are lucky, and you should go play the lottery, because it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen, dude. Like,
like
like,
you said,
so
Felix was the last one, and that was in 2012. Man,
yeah,
that feels like such a long time ago, Carlos. I remember
yeah,
the exact moment where I was watching that, and I can't believe that's 11 years ago.
yeah,
And
yeah,
during that stretch, there was a lot, like 3 or 4 perfect games that did happen. Had the Dallas Braden one. Roy Halladay had just thrown one 4 days before. So we were going
yeah,
through a moment where we were about to get two in a 1 week.
yeah. That's true.
And
I remember
and
that.
Jim Joyce ruined this.
Yeah.
But I gotta ask you this: is this the worst call in baseball history by an umpire?
Ooh, the worst call in baseball
And
history. So look,
there was no
yeah.
playoff impact. There was nothing like that. So I wonder if is there any other playoff call or World Series game that you think it was worse than that? Because
Dang. Okay, so there's a lot of plays that come to mind, and that didn't happen against the Dodgers. So I would have been like, if he was a Dodger, I would have said, yes, it is the worst call. Looking at it
okay,
as a baseball fan, and looking at it now to where we have the replay, and we do, change calls because of that replay. You challenge it and you do that. I feel like It could be, dude. It could be one of those things where, like, dang, I remember seeing this game though. I remember seeing this game live, like not there at the stadium, but
Right.
you know how the ESPN used to be like, oh, there's a no hitter
Tune
watch,
in.
right?
Going live.
Tune in, and
Yeah.
so I would change it. And when that happened, I even went like, what? He was out. Like, how can you do that? So
Yeah.
yeah, I think it was the worst call. Jim Joyce will be recognized for that. It doesn't matter what he has done in his career. That one negative thing that he did, it's gonna haunt him for his rest of his life, and that sucks. Do you think that was the worst call?
It's definitely up there, Carlos. I can't think of any other one as bad as this one for sure. And I see some playoff ones, that have happened, but I don't think that one play defines the whole series. You do have like best of 7 game series.
Mm-hmm.
So, you still have time to make it up. I know that one call is bad. You may lose a game because of that bad call, but you still
Yeah,
have 7 other games to make up for it. You know what I mean? And this one, just one particular huge achievement that could have happened, and you ruin in the last play of the game.
yeah.
It's kind of bad.
So Chu just said, I know Galarraga hated to see MLB introduce replays. I am pretty sure he's like, man, forget this. That's why he decided to go out and said on 2020, because that's when these rules were introduced, the replay and all that stuff. He's
Mhm.
probably like, really? Then let's go ahead and look at my perfect game. Let's see if we can change it.
Exactly.
Let's see if we get momentum on it. One play that I do remember, and this one was a bad outcome. And True, you're a Braves fan, and this happened to Chipper Jones, and he was like arguing the call. There was a play by third base and the outfield, and it wasn't so much in the outfield. It was by, I guess it was by third base and shortstop, but it was in the grass. The by right, no, left field. Sorry, left field. Um, it was in the playoff. It was a 1 game playoff, and that changed the whole game. They called the infield fly rule, but no one said anything. No umpire made the sign or anything. So runners ran. If they catch the ball, runners run at
Mhm.
their own risk, right?
Right.
But they didn't call it. They say they did. They put the runners back onto their base, and that changed
Mm.
the momentum for the Braves. The Braves lost that 1 game playoff, and they didn't continue on. But I thought that was a bad call.
Okay.
But that was a playoff, and this one's regular season. But you see where I'm going with this. Is
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
like
definitely.
the calls sometimes involve other umpires, which it did. It involved all 4 umpires, which they didn't call the infield fly rule. They wish they should have, or I don't know if they should have or shouldn't have. But that changed the whole outcome. Changed the whole outcome. And I remember Chipper Jones being so pissed at that call.
Okay.
So
That's a good one,
I
man.
can't say what year it was, but it was one of the first times that the wild card game, which was 1 game, it was introduced. So yeah, man, it's up there. It's up there. It's up
It's up
there.
there.
But
Okay.
yeah, do you remember? Do you know any other that you that?
Oh man, we've already talked about in this show that Angels White Sox one. That's the one I hate the most, but I'm
Oh, that's
biased.
another one. That one, and that didn't even touch the ground. That ball didn't even touch the ground.
No, that's
No,
that one. That's a pretty bad one up there too for me.
that was in the playoffs. And when you know what, when it's playoffs, it kind of hurts more, right?
It really does because you saw your team work so hard to get to that point. You're this close to making it to the next playoff round,
Yeah,
and this one bad call, because like you said, just changes the momentum.
yeah,
And you don't want to blame it on that one play because the next hitter could also have gotten a hit, right? But
yeah.
it does mess with your momentum, and that always affects the outcome. That's just the way things work sometimes. It's
Dude, and
crazy.
I know you've said this guy, you don't like him, AJ Persinski. He's the one that took off to first base because he thought that he swung at a ball that was at the dirt, but they caught the ball and he ran to first. And the umpires, the umpires took it as like, hey, it did hit the ground, so he took first base.
Yeah.
More power to him. He had good acting, skills. Because I remember he did swing and then he dropped the bat and he kind of stood there a little bit and he just ran right. He
Yeah.
ran to first base. So I was like, oh man, that did
Terrible.
change forever, dude. I don't want to remind you of that. That's
No,
that's.
no, let's move on.
Let's go ahead and move on to the next segment, dude. And this segment is the Did You Know segment. And we have Tony Gwynn. For a lot of people that don't know who Tony Gwynn is, he's a really recognized person out in San Diego. He went to San Diego State. Are they the Aztecs, I believe?
They're the
He has a
Aztecs.
lot. Yeah, right. They have a lot of. He has a lot of records there. He played basketball and baseball. He has a lot of records here with the San Diego Padres. He played 20 years. He batted 338 career. That's not one season. That's career in those 20 years. He only had 434 strikeouts. If you really think about it, that's only 6.7 strikeouts a season. That's a little bit. You have people that strike out 27 times in a week. So
Pretty
that's a
much.
lot. That's a lot, dude. So then All-Star appearances, he had 15, and Silver Slugger 7. So if you don't know who this man is, I feel like you should know who he is. He was one of those players that we took for granted when he was playing because he's not in the big market. The Padres are not in the big market. I feel like he was one of those players that got overlooked. And I didn't see an MVP from this guy. Did you see any MVP in his history?
No, Carlos was always in the mix for the MVP, but never actually won
Yeah,
one.
right.
It's
That's
crazy.
crazy. It is crazy. And I did see that he was I think the closest he came to was third in the voting for MVP because he didn't have a lot of home runs, but he did get on base a lot. And he did have look, for right now, Gwynn owns the all-time Padres record in batting average, runs, hits, total bases, doubles, triples, RBIs, walks, stolen
Wow.
bases, and games played, dude.
Dude,
So
this guy owns it all in San Diego.
yeah,
He's actually born in LA, and he owns every record in San Diego. You name either the Padres or the San
yeah,
Diego State Aztecs. He either has
yeah.
basketball records or baseball records.
I read
What
that
a,
he had like 576 assists, I believe,
he
in
was a
basketball.
passer. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
So
crazy to
that's
me, man.
good, dude. That's
Dude,
really
this guy
good.
was drafted by the Clippers and the Padres the same season. Both San Diego teams wanted him.
Wow.
It wasn't
That's when the Clippers were out there?
Yeah, Clippers were in San Diego back then, and he
Okay.
got drafted by both teams in the same season. So both teams in San Diego wanted him. Mr. Padre himself, the
Yeah.
greatest Padre to ever put in that uniform,
Yeah.
he has actually been the closest to hit close to 400. Now that we're mentioning Luis Arraez,
Yeah.
he actually batted 394 in the 1994 season, but the season got cut short, Carlos.
Yeah.
Who, knowing him, he would have got the 400.
Yeah. I believe they played 120, I want to say 121 or 127. I forget how many
Really? They
games they
played that
played.
many games?
Yeah, 90. Yeah, because so it had passed the July trades deadline, and it went into August, I believe, and that's when they decided to cut the season short. They were about like, okay, whatever team is in first place, they're going to play the playoffs, and then we're going to have the World Series. But I think they didn't have the player agreement. I don't know. Everybody
Yeah,
was all over the place, and they decided to be like, no, we're not going to do it. So they didn't do it. But he did have enough at bats and he did bat 300. I believe the first season that didn't, or I think the first season was the only season he didn't bat 300. But after that, everything was 300. And like, he is a Hall of Famer, but he should have won a few MVPs. He played in the wrong era, maybe.
maybe.
Um,
I think that's when the steroid era players came, the Mark McGuire's, the Jose Canseco's, the Barry
yeah,
Bonds.
yeah,
And this guy was the most purest hitter in our generation we have in baseball. There's
yeah,
no
yeah,
one like him.
dude.
Ted Williams probably is the closest to compare him to, but it's impressive how he was able to stay in the team for 20 years and the loyalty he had for the Padres. Never really went out there for a big contract, you know.
Yeah.
And it's impressive to hear these days. It's very rare to hear a player staying in the same team for over 20 seasons, Carlos.
Yeah, that's true. And you know what? I felt for him when he went to the World Series in 1998. Even though they got swept by the Yankees that year,
Right.
I felt like he deserved a ring at that time.
Mm-hmm.
I was a huge Ken Caminiti fan because I saw Ken Caminiti and I saw that he was all big at third base, like throwing cannons to first base, and then you will see Tony Gwynn, dude, like he would just put the bat to the ball. He would get on base, and then you have the big sluggers come. Like I said, Ken Caminiti try to hit it out to get those runs, but the mighty Yankees always
Too
got
powerful,
their way
man.
with it. Yeah, too powerful that year, and they swept them. But it is what it is. If you didn't know, now you know.
I have a
Tony Gwynn is
crazy
one of the
stat.
greats.
I
Yeah,
have
you
a
have
crazy
it.
I
All
have a
right.
crazy stat for him. He faced Tom Glavine, Greg Maddux, John Smoltz, Pedro Martinez, and 330 games. Guess how many times he struck out against them?
Well, I know against the Braves because you included Pedro Martinez.
Yes. These are
Okay.
the top four pitchers in the 90s, mind you.
Yeah.
The best of
Okay.
the best, right?
Ah, I know with the Braves because they had I guess they were announcing the game on, I believe, against the Mets, and they said that it was Maddox, Glavin, and Smoltz struck him
Right.
out 3 times. So you're
Yeah,
adding
first pick.
Pedro Martinez. Pedro Martinez, he's in the net. I think he probably might have struck him out. I want to say 2 times, so I'm gonna say 5.
Nah, man, Pedro
No,
Martinez never struck him out.
no, what?
Yeah, man.
Dang.
So 3 strikeouts for all these guys he's faced and 330 at bats, I think. Dude, this is crazy, man. Who the heck could just not strike him out?
Are you serious?
Yeah, man, it's impressive. And like you said, he's one of those guys that went underrated down, just a small market team, never really talked about. Bruce Bochy was his coach, another guy that gets these guys to hit. So I'm not sure if he also made an impact on his career.
Yeah.
But man, what a successful story, and he's arguably he was a first ballot Hall of Famer without a doubt, and consider one of the best hitters in our generation. So, man, just praise this guy, and he's one of the best we had.
Yeah. Dude, since we're on the Padres and we have a little bit of time, I'll go ahead and say this. I feel like the Padres are just faking out everybody right now. They're psyching everybody out to where they're not playing consistent baseball. But
Mm-hmm.
this stat, and I don't know, it came into my head one day that I was watching baseball this weekend, where I felt like I'm looking at baseball and I'm seeing that some baseball players are really superstitious and are really like what do you call it? They like to pinpoint things. So when these teams go play at San Diego, or San Diego goes, or the Padres go out to play, let's say like the Yankees, they scout these teams and they're saying like, we're not going to face the Yankees again, so we need to go out there and try to beat them.
Okay.
But like the Dodgers, the Dodgers swept the Padres this last time they met. I feel like they're just psyching them out, man. I don't know. I feel like when it comes July, I feel like the Padres are gonna get this momentum going, and everybody's gonna be like, "Oh, there's a team finally." That no,
No,
they've been
you're
there.
right.
They've
I
been there.
totally, I totally agree with that, and
Yeah,
it's just crazy. But like, I ask myself, why waste this much time? Why just not be on top of the division? Why
yeah,
give the Diamondbacks this? I don't know, man. It's weird. I totally agree with you. I feel like they're actually only 3.5 games back behind the last wild card spot, so they're
yeah.
not far behind, Carlos.
They're not. They're
And they
not.
just have to put in a good little winning streak, and they're gonna be right in the mix just in any moment. So they have
Yeah.
the talent, Carlos. And I ask you this: is there any Padre out there that you see currently right now that could get to Tony Gwynn's level? And I don't
Uh,
see it.
well, they have a lot of long contracts out there. The
Right?
stolen base might be lost because he only had 100 and I want to say 146. So his stolen bases are gonna Tatis is gonna get that probably like in 3-4 years. He's
Right.
gonna have that. Um, you have Machado out there that's gonna have the most base percentage. You have like all these little records that because Tony Gwynn established these records in that time of baseball, maybe some records are gonna get broken, but I feel like the ones that are not gonna get broken is that batting average out there and hits. I feel
No,
like
for
hits
sure.
for those
It's not
are
gonna happen.
untouchable. Yeah, those are gonna be
For
untouchable,
me,
man.
for Tatis to be the next great Padre, he has to win a World Series, at least a couple. He
Yeah.
has to bring 2 couple titles to San Diego, and
Just
if there
one. I feel like just one. I
you
think
think
with
so?
one. Yeah, just one, dude. They've
He has
never
to bring
won
it.
one.
Yeah,
So
so he has to bring it. I don't care if he doesn't pass Tony Gwynn's stats, but he has to do something like that. Bring it, that World Series to San Diego, and I think the fans want it too. It's been a long time. They've been in the majors, and they want to win.
yeah, yeah. And do look, base as a Dodger fan, put all that aside. I'm a baseball fan first. I would want to see the Padres win the World Series. I would want to see the Angels win the World Series. I do want to see that duel out there. I know Artie Moreno just came out saying that he's going to make a push for Otani. Like he's going to make it possible for him to win and for him to stay here in Los Angeles or Anaheim, whatever you want to
Yeah.
call it. But he did mention, and I just want to get your thoughts on it since you are an Angels fan. Like, do you are you hyped for that?
Hey, man, I think the Angels are going to try their best to get him. It's seeming like very unlikely. Every time there's more talks about Shohei, and the team just has to win, Carlos. They're going to have to bring the best version of the Angels baseball this season in order to convince them to stay.
Yeah, yeah,
Money wise, I don't know if we could afford him, but there's going to be some teams out there that are going to have way more money than the Angels that could push
yeah,
for him. And my only concern is that if we don't make a deep run this year, Carlos, at least try to make the playoffs or at least go to the American League Championship Series. ALCS. We have to find a way to make it there to show him like, hey, bro, we made it this close. If you stay one more year, we're gonna make it to the next. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So what's the one thing they need for the trade? Hold on, before we move. Will just said Tatis will win at least 2 MVPs.
Oh, that's
I think so too. I
I can see
agree
that
with you on that. Yeah, I think so too. When would that happen? It's gonna happen probably within these 5 years.
for sure.
Which is he's really good, dude. He's really good. It's just um, I don't know. There's another question here. Padres coaching staff is terrible in developing their pitchers. They won't win a World Series with that coaching staff. Look, and this is where my point was coming. That I know their pitching staff is not all there, but Bob Melvin coached the A's, and what did you just say about the A's? They won 5 in a row, right, Ernie? When we started
Right,
the
right.
show, so he knows how to get to the playoffs. He knows how to win enough games to squeak in, because remember the A's in that time when Bob Melvin was there, he took them to the playoffs. It
Yeah,
had to be coaching. It had to be all those strategic things that he did, because remember they're using Moneyball out there in Oakland, and yeah, they're not developing these pitchers, but they could go after a trade and they could go get a pitcher, and it's just one of those things where I feel like maybe the Padres last year ran out of gas because they threw all their efforts against the Dodgers. This year, they're controlling their health. They're controlling how they're playing at the beginning of the season. So when they
yeah,
get to that point, and that's what I was referring to. I was making that point to where the Padres are holding off, not
yeah.
playing their full potential baseball like we all expect them to do. Hopefully, I'm wrong though. I want to be completely wrong, but uh, we'll see. We'll see. We'll see. We'll
For
see
sure,
what
man.
happens.
Paul Melvin is still a great coach, man. He's like you said, taking the A's to the playoffs with like smaller teams. You know, the owners
Yeah.
doesn't really spend, so he still was making ways to make it to the playoffs. And now he's at the Padres with a star-studded lineup,
Yeah.
and he could make a deep run this year. Don't
Yeah.
be shocked if the Padres make a run. The Braves could probably cool off by September, come September.
Mhm.
And there's a lot of teams really not that. The Diamondbacks are still young, and
Yeah.
the Dodgers are having these bullpen issues. Don't be
Yeah.
surprised if the Padres keep sneaking in, knocking on that door at come October.
Come October. Well, you didn't finish saying about the Angels. Like we kind of a little sidetracked. Thanks, Will,
Oh,
for the
okay.
question. That's a really good one. Yeah.
Hey man, but Shohei, man, I'm kind of getting kind of sad that he does leave, man. It's gonna be a sad moment for Angels fans. Who knows what's gonna happen, man? But
Yeah.
it does seem like everybody's pouching Shohei to come to their town. And I don't think he's just going to go to any other team. He's going to go to a team that wants to compete and win now. Like,
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
see him going to another team that's just like the Angels with the same amount of wins or the same amount of talent.
Yeah.
But it'll be great for the Anaheim to keep him. Mike Trout and Shohei is good for baseball. And, they're actually one of the strongest duels out there. They
Yeah.
put up a fight with Nolan Arenado and Paul Goldschmidt, if you ask me.
That's
And
true. And I did say that they were gonna go back to back 15 times. It's only been 3 times this year that that's done it, and one of them was 3-time home runs. I guess I don't remember who was the one that hit him, but I know Otani and Trout was part of that, and
right,
someone
right.
else.
I think it was Taylor
Remember?
Ward.
Was it
Taylor,
Ward? Okay,
yeah.
Taylor Ward. Yeah. So like, we got a lot of I guess 12 more times. It needs to happen. It needs to happen.
Needs to happen,
That's
Carlos.
it needs to happen. Look, I'm gonna say this about the Angels. I feel like maybe if they go, and we've talked about this a lot, Ernie.
Right,
I think the Angels do need that starting pitcher. They need
right.
someone else to back Otani up, because Otani right now is not doing all that well in pitching. He was doing at the beginning of the season, and
Mhm.
for right now, he's been cooling off. If he gets that backup pitcher that can help him, it was supposed to be Tyler Anderson, but he's not doing so well.
Not
He's
doing
not
so
doing so
good.
well. And then Patrick,
And the ball's cooled off too.
Sandoval, he's cooled off too. So you need that one pitcher, and there's pitchers out there. We said Jane Beaver. Will just broke down that last week, which
Right.
velocity and all that stuff. Thanks, Will, for doing that. But yeah, dude, like it's one of those things where they do need to go get that starting pitcher, that one starter, and if they do that, I feel like the Angels could make that run. But we will
Definitely,
see.
man.
Only time will see. Only time will tell for that.
Right now, we currently have a team that's very, we have a lot of outfielders out there, and I feel like it's time to trade one of those young guys for definitely some pitching.
Yeah,
And it's gonna happen, Carlos. We're gonna have to make a run, or else we're not keeping Shohei. So,
yeah,
and we would say trade him, but we're so close to the playoffs too. We're just right behind the wild card. Why not make that push with Shohei?
Yeah.
Imagine Shohei and Trout in the playoffs. Man, how great would that be for baseball? We just saw the World Baseball Classic and how
Yeah.
great that was. Seeing Mike
Yeah.
Trout striking out on Shohei for the final play. Now imagine Shohei pitching and batting at the same time in a World Series. How great would that be for baseball?
I would watch. Definitely, I would watch that.
Oh, you see the
Yeah.
ratings, how high that would be? Man, that would change the game of baseball for the best.
For a while, yeah, because now you need ratings. Now you need these players to show up, the big time players of your league, right?
Right.
Dude, we reached that hour mark. We
For sure,
reached
man.
there. We got a lot of stuff. We covered a lot of stuff. Anything before we go log off? Anything you have to say?
Hey, well, thanks, Carlos, for having this show with us. Everybody that was tuning in, thank you for tuning in. And if you guys enjoy the show, make sure to give a like to the video and also to subscribe. You know, we're trying to get to 500 subscribers, and we are going to have a raffle for the 500 subscriber, right, Carlos? I think
Yeah,
we have
yeah,
mentioned.
yeah. So we're gonna do a little what we did when we got the 150. 150. Damn, you think about 150 to 200. It's a long time ago, right? But we did give out a what was it? A lids $50 gift card,
Okay,
and so they want a hat. They could go get a hat, whatever. But now we're trying to see if we can get a jersey, real talk baseball jersey, and it's a pretty nice one. We just need to go ahead and make it. But once we get to the 500, we'll go ahead and post it. Or before we get to the 500, we'll
for
post
sure,
it, and
man.
then we'll do like a rotary raffle.
I don't need one of
We can do
those.
that. Yeah, exactly. We'll do that.
For sure,
But
man.
yeah, that's it. We reached that point. Carlos Baseball. This is Ernie Orange. Real Talk Baseball. Signing out.